What's going on, guys? On today, I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna do this a little different. I'm not really gonna share stories or tell you this or how this or what there. I'm gonna tell you, for the people that always ask, oh, I don't know if I should join this or that, I'm gonna give you 4 categories. And if you fall in those 4 categories, then you most likely should join and go from there. So the first category, off bat, kind of everybody already knows. If you're right out of high school, you don't know what you're gonna do, you don't have money for college, you're not in a scholarship, you don't play sports, this, that, or the third, and you don't really wanna go community college or whatever, because you kind of just don't know what you wanna be, and you don't wanna commit to something, then waste money, then it turns out you don't even wanna do school, or whatever, you know? If you recently graduated high school, you're kind of lost, need purpose, need, I guess, guidance, then yeah, I definitely recommend going to the military, because they're gonna give you that. They're gonna give you that purpose, they're gonna give you that guidance, and you're gonna get paid while you do it. And then after that, you can go talk to other people from other parts of the country and be like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, being in the military, you're gonna meet a whole mess of people, different ages, and you know, it's always good to grasp knowledge from everywhere, you know? You're never done learning, right? And in the second category is if you lived on the wrong side of the law, you know? You've been trapping, whatever, gang banging, whatever the case may be, and you're done with that life. You're done with, you know, just day-to-day chaos, and you just don't want it no more. But certain jobs don't allow you because you have a record or whatever the case may be. I'm telling you, the military, or at least for the Navy in specific, they got a waiver for whatever. So maybe, honestly, I don't even know, even if you ended somebody's life, I'm sure there's a waiver for that too. You know, jokes aside, whatever, my fault, what it is, what it is. Point is, even if you do have a criminal record, they will find a way for you to get in there because they need the bodies. So don't count yourself out just yet. And the third is, if you went to college, you did all that good stuff, you finally graduated, but the job market in your specific area of studies just isn't hitting, and you have to work these jobs where, you know, you don't see yourself in there, you know, you don't have a future in there because, you know, you want to progress, or you just had other plans in life, right? And you finally finished, but you know, you just can't seem to get a job because a lot of times these, you know, the job market is just effed up and all, right? You could join and you can go the officer route, right? Basically, you're in charge of divisions, and you know, you're basically, I don't want to use this term, but you're basically the big dogs, you know? An enlisted day is never going to be better than an officer's day. But an officer's day is not always going to be better. You get what I'm saying? So you can always go that route, you know? Because, you know, but if you do decide to go that route, just remember, so a lot of the recruiters are going to be like, they're going to make it seem impossible for you to go into an officer route just so they can meet their quota on the enlistment side. So just do a lot of research, play hard to get, because this is your future. And for the most part, there's bonuses. Regardless if you go officer, enlisted, there's hella bonuses. You just gotta play your cards right, you know? Don't be patient, don't try to jump into anything, because at the end of the day, they're looking out for themselves, so you better look out for yourself too. And last but not least, if you're watching and you're from a different country and you're trying to get a faster way to citizenship, I know how that sounds, but you know, they do it all the time. You want a faster way to citizenship? Join the military. I don't know if it still works, just because the new president got in office, so I don't know how that works. But when I was in, I knew a couple people that they went through that program, and you know, it ended up paying off. You know, they do their part with this country, you know, I serve my country, you know, and then in return they get citizenship and, you know, everything else that comes with serving, you know? So if you fall in those 4 categories, then yeah, you most likely should probably join, just because, you know, you're not getting any younger. And it's not that bad, you know? I did it. That was that first option. I didn't want. It's not that I didn't want to go to college. I just didn't see the outlet at the time. But like I said, you fall into those 4 categories. Really consider it. Reach out to people you know that maybe were in the military, and you know, with anything that I can help, reach out to me. You know, I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of connections. I know people. So I know people that are still in. You know, and they'll definitely shoot the information, because at the end of the day, the more you know, the better. And remember, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So with that being said, it is Friday. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the weekend. But other than that, like I said, I'm gonna keep dropping as much knowledge as I can to help you guys out. And you know, because why not? It'll be a documentary that I'll be able to show my son when he's all grown up. Like, look, I let people know what's up, and you know, it is what it is. But other than that, y'all have a good one, and bless up.